Are you thankful and content with what you have? Hi everyone, and welcome to the Burnt Brass Homestead channel. I visited a community that raised goats, cows, and chickens. In addition to that, they hunt for deer meat. Members of this community are well versed in butchering, cooking, and preserving the animals that they butcher. They also grow much of their own food to eat and preserve for the winter. There are a few families that live on this land, which consists of over 30 acres of land, a pond, and a creek. Members of this community are debt-free. They pool their resources together to acquire all that they need. There are pros and cons to living on a community with other families, but with trust, commitment, and hard work from each of the families, it works for them. But the purpose of this video is not necessarily to show what someone else has, but rather remind people to be content with what they have and work with it. I do not have 30 acres of land, but I am able to grow enough food on what I do own to feed my family and preserve for the winter. You may have more or less than an acre of land, but are you thankful and content with what you have? Are you using it to the best of your ability? You must make do with what you have. Do not try to compete with others. I see people all the time trying to outdo the other person, buying name brand fashionable clothing, cars, and a home that they cannot afford, the latest tech gadget and smartphones that take them several months to pay off. That's not good. If you have to put something on a credit card but could not pay off that credit card at the end of the month, that tells you that you could not afford whatever it was you purchased. I did a video on how to grow food in small areas, where if you lived in a city and your backyard or front yard is concrete, you can still grow food in containers. It's called container gardening. The first place I grew food was on the balcony of my apartment complex several years ago. That was when I fell in love with gardening. I was able to walk outside, pick some string beans off the vine for dinner that night. It was the greatest feeling in the world. I was able to do the same thing with collard greens, spring onions, tomatoes, and it was a really good feeling. I would say that the balcony was about 4 feet by 8 feet if I had to guess. I had food growing in buckets that I got free from neighborhood markets. I just called up the bakery section and asked if they had used buckets that they no longer needed. They told me the best time to pick it up, and they even cleaned them for me. I had vegetables with shallow roots growing in planter boxes that fit on the balcony rails. I went crazy with growing in every available spot on the balcony, and I was content with what I had because that was all I had at the time. Yet I made it work. The following year, I grew vegetables in friends' backyard. 2 years after that, I purchased my home, and here we are today. I knew I wanted to get a house outside of the city in the suburbs, but I had to plan and work hard to make it a reality, and it took time. There are many people who do not have a stable roof over their heads, clean drinking water, or healthy food to eat. So I guess the purpose of this video is to look around you. Recognize what resources you have, make great use of them, and be thankful.